Hardin comes in, starts bare-boned. Is that the right word? He just raws into quoting Wuthering Heights at her. No hello. He's just like, "'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse." Okay. Listen, guys, listen. I am in crisis, quite frankly. There's no easy way to say this. I watched every single After movie. Yes. If you don't know, After is a movie series. There's 4 movies. They are based on the book series, which is based on a Wattpad fan fiction of Harry Styles as a bad boy. The thing about me is that I love culture and I love cinema and I also love literature. Are you writing that down? So I've just taken notes on literally every single After movie. Was this an act of self-harm? There's no way to say. So that's all. Here's the thing. I have to be very conscious of what I am saying because I was censored by YouTube last video for saying swear words. Here's the thing about me. I was censored and I will not be silenced. I was not silent. I was silenced. Okay? Hi, I have to be quiet because my boyfriend is taking a nap, but we're going to do a nice ASMR break from today's video to discuss this week's sponsor, Lelo. I've worked with Lelo before. I love their product. I love what the company stands for, and I'm so excited to work with them again. Lelo makes luxury pleasure toys and believes that sexual exploration and the use of these toys allows you to seek pleasure regardless of age, gender, race, or sexual orientation. Also, orgasms are great for your mental health. It's a great way to enact self-care. The product I'm talking about today is the Sona 2 Travel. It is a travel version of their best-selling device, the Sona 2. It's a sonic clitoral massager, and it combines powerful features, a discreet design. It's so cute. It's literally gorgeous. And a compact design, making it perfect for if you're a person on the go. You can literally throw it in like your bag, your carry-on, your purse, wherever you're going. It's so small and compact. So pleasure is always in your reach, no matter if you're globe-trotting or what. It has 12 powerful pleasure settings. They vary in intensity from like a little teasing murmur to a satisfying pulse. You're 100% in control of the intensity and the settings the entire time. It's made using sensonic technology, so without even making direct contact, Sona 2 Travel combines sonic waves and gentle pulses. It creates intense pleasure and satisfying orgasms. Also, just another plus, it's made with medical grade silicone. You want your toys to be hygienic and healthy and good for your body. It is completely waterproof and incredibly easy to keep clean. If Lelo seems like it's for you, I would recommend the Sona 2 Travel, but there are lots of other products and you can find what's perfect for you. Go to the link in my description to check it out. They've got lots of great information on their website. Also, if you use the code uncarley, you can get a free 75 milliliter personal moisturizer, which is perfect for traveling, pairs beautifully with the Sona 2 Travel. Thank you so much to Lelo for sponsoring this video. Let's get back into it. So after the first movie came out, 2019, what a lovely year. We're vibing, right? This is a love story between Tessa Young and Hardin Scott. They're gonna be in every fucking movie. That's all I have to say about that. Tessa Young is played by an actress who is Catherine Langford from 13 Reasons Why's sister, I believe. And Hardin Scott is played by an actor who is Ralph Fiennes, aka Voldemort's nephew. I looked up who he was because throughout watching this entire series, I was like, oh, the second he spoke, I was like, that's the fakest British accent I've ever heard in my life. That actor is doing a poor British accent. And then I looked it up and he's British. That's his voice. So that's all I'm going to say about that. The basic undercurrents of this are Tessa is a sheltered student. She just got into university. She's in her first year of college because this is the States. She loves books. She's not like other girls. She doesn't like love wearing makeup or partying. Like, she likes books. And she's with Hardin, who is an emotionally unavailable bad boy with a shady past. We don't know much about what happened to him. And they get together and then they break up and then they get together. But then get this, they break up. Game changer. So in the first movie, she is moving into university. It's her first year. She is a single mother played by Legally Blonde herself. I mean, I guess Legally Brunette, Selma Blair. That's her single mom. I don't want to know the age difference. A TV mom child age difference is always depressing. They're like, yes, this 37-year-old woman, she does have a 25-year-old daughter. Make it make sense? You don't have to. If you are a woman and you are not 19, you're a mom. Sorry to say, that's just the rules. So Selma Blair is her mom. She is a very strict mother, and she's like, I don't want you drinking. I don't want you doing drugs. You're here to learn. You got the scholarship. You're here to learn in university, whatever. And she has a high school boyfriend named Noah because he's still in high school. He is 17, underage. Love it. Very into it. He's played by one of the actors from the 3rd season of You. They have done something to his hair. The hair and makeup department had it out for him because his hair is just crust. You know what I mean? But he's her high school boyfriend. He walks in, he's wearing a cardigan, he's very sweet. Immediately you're like, this guy's about to get cheated on. It's just gonna happen. So there's a weird mix up with the housing department. So instead of being with another freshman or first year in university, Tessa is with Steph, who is a 3rd year student who loves drugs and partying, and she's bad news. How do we know this? Number 1, she is a drawing of a weed leaf on her wall. That's not very Christian. Number 2, she loves rock music. And number 3, she kind of dresses like a 2012 Tumblr girl. She's got fishnets under her jean cutoffs and a septum piercing. And she has a tattoo of a singular music note on her arm. And she's like, I'm going to take Tessa under my arm and I'm going to make her a bad girl. So Tessa goes to school. She gets into the shower at her university without shower shoes. And you know the plantar's warts that are about to infect her bloodstream. Wear a shower shoe, girl. I beg of you. She goes back to her room and Hardin Scott is just reading on her bed. Why is he in her room? Why is he on Steph's bed? She's in a towel naked and she's a good girl. So she freaks out and she's like, can you please leave? And he's like, no, I won't. He's reading the fakest copy of The Great Gatsby you've ever seen. It is like a book and a play. It's massive. It's 800 pages. And I know that book is 200 at most. You know what I mean? She asks him to leave. He says no. She's upset. Whatever. Then finally Steph comes back and is like, what are you doing here? Okay, let's leave. Whatever. And she's like, you're reading The Great Gatsby? Because here's the thing, she doesn't expect that anybody at university can or should read, which is fair. University is where you learn to read, right? You don't go into university knowing how to read. And he says to her, the thing about The Great Gatsby is that at the end, it's all a dream, which is a lie. It's just not true. But nevertheless, they persisted. Later in that week, Steph invites Tessa to a frat party because remember, she's taking Tessa under her arm and teaching her how to be a bad girl in university. Tessa's like, oh, I'll just wear jeans and a top. And Steph's like, there's no way you're wearing that. You have to wear a dress. And then Tessa puts on a dress that's kind of like she's going to church, but whatever. This actress is gorgeous. As a big forehead girly, I will forever be jealous of anybody who can put their hair up in an effortless ponytail and not transform into a hard-boiled egg. It's not my experience, and that's okay. I need to honor my experience. And God does give his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers, which is why I have a big forehead, because he knew I could handle it, right? But she's wearing a church dress and a ponytail to the frat party. This group of friends that Steph introduces Tessa to. This is the group of friends that we're going to get to know, but not really because we don't have time. It's just the fact you don't know who these people are. They were One Direction in the fan fiction, but for the life of me, I cannot figure out which character is supposed to be which member of One Direction. It just doesn't click to me. But they're a big group of friends, and one thing you need to know about this group of friends, they love to play games. They never talk. They're always like, what if we played Suck and Blow? What if we played Truth or Dare? Let's play Spin the Bottle. They're playing games. Nobody's talking. Nobody's relaxing. We're at a party to game. They are gamers. So Steph introduces Tessa to all of her friends. Okay? And they're mad because she doesn't want to drink. She's like, oh, I don't really drink. Then they all get upset and kind of peer pressure her like it's an after-school movie, which makes no sense because famously, people don't just want to give up their alcohol for free. Let's just say that. If you're at a party and somebody's like, you want a drink? And you're like, no, they're like, great, I didn't want to give you one. Anyway. I was being polite. So they decide to play Truth or Dare. Hardin is in this group of friends. There's also a girl named Molly. Molly is the villain just because she's mean. she's kind of a bitch, and she has like dyed hair, which means that she likes makeup, and she's just not like Tessa, because Tessa's just like angelic and lovely. So they're like, let's play truth or dare. Tessa is dared to kiss Hardin. So then they get like real close. There's nothing these two love more than to do a whisper. They love to do like a whisper kiss, where they're like that far apart, which don't do that. I don't know why it gives me the heebie-jeebies. It actively like makes my body seize up. There's something very creepy about like the whisper of a kiss. While they're doing this, Hardin's like, I'm gonna kiss her. Molly's filming this on her phone. Remember that, it's gonna come back later. And Tessa's like, no, I'm done playing this game, and walks out because she's not gonna be a pawn in their game. She's not going to kiss Hardin. So she goes upstairs into the party just to look at the different rooms, like in the house. You know what I mean? We've all done this. If you've invited me into your home, I'm going to kind of rifle through your things. That's human nature to me. So she walks into this room, that's all these books. And she's like, who at school could possibly read? Because I'm the only person that's allowed to like reading. Hardin comes in, starts bare-boned. Is that the right word? He just raws into quoting Wuthering Heights at her. No hello. He's just like, 'twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. I mean, I can't quote Wuthering Heights from memory because I'm not a manic pixie dream boy. I'm just me. But he just starts quoting Wuthering Heights at her to impress her, I guess. They almost kiss again. I think I took notes. That's what I'm looking at. But I don't think they kiss. I watched these 4 movies. They're going to blur together. I'm going to be honest with you. If there are after stands in the comments being like, well, actually that happened. Great, girl. Love that for you. I'm not here for the details. I'm not. They almost kiss again, and she leaves the party. Because if you'll recall, all of this is happening. She still has a boyfriend in high school. Her boyfriend is still in high school. So she leaves the party. He kind of perches on the roof like a gargoyle, brooding because he wanted to kiss her. She calls her boyfriend and he's like, hey, it's really loud. What's going on? You're at a party? You've been at university for 1 week and all of a sudden you're drinking and at a party? So then you're like, oh my God, he's being so annoying. I don't condone cheating, but you're being fucking annoying. She goes home to her dorm room and he texts her and he's like, I'm just disappointed in you. How could you drink? I'm just trying to do what's best for you. And it's like, shut up. The next day, Tessa goes to class. It's the first day of class, baby. Famously, you have a frat party the night before class. That scheduling makes sense to me. She meets Landon. Landon is Hardin's stepbrother, and he's a good, nice guy. He's studious, he's responsible, and for some reason, that doesn't matter to Tessa. She wants the nightmare fuel that is Hardin. She wants the worst possible decision ever in Hardin. That's what she's interested in. They go into English class and her and Landon are in like advanced English and they're so excited that they got into it even as first years, and Hardin is there. The teacher is a bimbo queen, Y2K slay. She's got like beautiful long curled hair and she's like, okay, let's talk about Pride and Prejudice, the summer reading. Tessa and Hardin, who's also in this class, then kind of just start annoyingly arguing in class as some fucked up form of enemies to lovers foreplay. Tessa's like, this is such a revolutionary feminist tale about women's stories. And Hardin's like, Elizabeth Bennet was a no, I can't say that. I'll get demonetized. And Elizabeth Bennet, she was thirsty and she wanted it bad. Just like bad takes, whatever. She gets really annoyed by this. After the fight, she's at a coffee shop and Hardin comes up to her and he's like,
I can't stay away from you.
Shivers down my spine, and then offers to take her to a special place. If you're a human being existing in this world like me, you're immediately thinking this is how you get murdered. Truly unhinged man who has been stalking me invites me to a second location. You don't go to the second location. She gets in the car with him. He drives her to the forest, presumably to bury her body. They skinny dip in the water, where I'm convinced he will drown her, and then they kiss. Yes. After they swim, they go to a diner to have burgers. And there's just a perfect bite out of Hardin's burger. And you know the art department, they felt good about that. It looks clean. And Tessa's like, why do you call them chips? Because you remember, Hardin's British. He's not like other guys. He's from the UK. You know what I mean? Tessa's like, so tell me about your past. Like, what's a detail about you? And Hardin's like, I don't with small talk. Talking about the past, that's not going to tell you anything about me. And like, I would assume many therapists would disagree, but that's neither here nor there. Molly and Zed, one of the friend group, show up And Hardin immediately starts like gaslighting Tessa and being like, I don't date. We were just hanging out. He gives her the keys to the car and then makes her wait at the bar while he's sitting in a booth with everyone else eating. It makes no sense. Once they meet up again at the bar to like go drive home, she's like, I was gonna tell my boyfriend about us. I think I'll do that. And he's like, no, don't do it. I don't date, love. Or I don't. Just warps her perception of reality. Nothing but love and light for that. Tessa's boyfriend, Noah, visits her on campus and they go to a bonfire hosted by this little friend group. Hardin is brooding and upset. He's got a black hoodie with the hood up. He's looking like A from Pretty Little Liars. We love to see it. After that, at the bonfire, because nobody can hang out and just talk, they have to play a game. We know that to be true. They decide to play suck and blow, which is when you put a credit card or some kind of card like on your lips and you suck, and then you have to pass it to the next person. And they have to suck it off your lips and blow. And then if the card falls, you have to kiss. It's a great way to get a disease. Credit cards are clean, right? Anyways, that happens. One of the guys lets the card drop, so he and Tessa kind of have to kiss in front of her boyfriend and the guy she cheated on her boyfriend with by hooking up, which is great. Hardin gets so mad that he lunges at this guy and starts punching him, and Noah's like, what the is happening? Hardin storms off. Noah and Tessa go back to her dorm room. Tessa gets a call from Landon in the middle of the night and is like, hey, Hardin is freaking the out. Can you please come and check on him? Love it. So Tessa goes over to their house. Hardin has trashed the place. He's like broken vases and shit. There's an orchid lying limply on the counter. And poor Landon has to clean it up because Hardin is violent. He's upset that she's hooking up with people. But the thing that's great about this violence is that it's never going to be turned on you. If he's upset because he loves you and this is love, it's never going to become a problem for you. It's actually romantic and good. It's actually romantic and good. So she talks with him. He calms down. They kiss. She is the only person who can get through to him. Yes, women are therapists for men with mental health issues. We love it. Yes, that is your role. She falls asleep there with Hardin. They don't have sex, but they fall asleep together. So then Noah wakes up in the morning with Tessa gone. She's been gone for hours. He probably thinks she got murdered because her friends are all hooligans who love to hook up and play games, and he probably thinks her body has been buried in the woods. She calls him back and comes running, and he's like, what's up? Which is it's fair to be upset by that. It's fair to be upset by that, to be like, hey, you literally disappeared for hours and I thought you died. She's like, it's not what you think, Noah. It's fine. And then Hardin comes up stalking behind her. Noah connects the dots. They break up. She cheated on him. It's not great behavior. That being said, Hardin and Tessa are now together. Eventually, Tessa's mom finds out through Noah and through walking into Tessa's dorm room while they are hooking up that she's dating Hardin. Tessa gets cut off. So now Hardin and Tessa get an apartment and live together. This has happened over the course of 4 months, and she is 18. They live together though. And remember earlier when Hardin was like, stories about my past, they are not going to tell you anything about who I am as a person. It's like that provides a lot of context, homie. We needed that. When they're at home one day in their apartment that they have now, Tessa sees that there's a lot of text from Molly, villain, with hair that's a weird color, villain, being like, you haven't told her yet? I'm gonna tell her if you don't, ha 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 ha. And here's the thing, I don't think Tessa should check his phone. Those texts though, if I saw them, I'd be like, I have a couple of questions. Sit down, I've got a couple questions for you. What the does this mean? And Hardin's like, do you trust me? Because if you trust me, those texts don't mean anything. So you better trust me. And it's like, absolutely, weaponized trust. Trust is a weapon for you to use. I agree. He then runs away, just runs, which is, guilty people don't do that. Hot take. Tessa eventually is out looking for him, finds the friend group at that diner bar place, and they're like, hey, Tessa, you're living with Hardin? Yikes. And she's like, I knew it. Molly and Hardin are cheating. Hardin shows up, freaked out of his mind, and he's like, no, don't listen to them. Let's just go and I'll explain everything. Let's just go. I'll tell you everything. Normal behavior. Regular. Innocent people, they act like that. And Molly is like, hasn't this thing gone a little too far, Hardin? I think it's time we tell her. And everyone in the friend group's like, no, Molly, no. But like, Molly is at least, she's being a bitch about it, but she is giving truth, the light of day. That's not too bad. And basically Tessa's like, I get it. You and Hardin are sleeping together. And Molly's like, no. And then shows her the video of when she was filming during the Truth or Dare game from the frat party, where Tessa walks away from Hardin, not kissing her. And Molly's like, whoa, it looks like Hardin got his first rejection. And Hardin's like, you know what? I bet I can make her fall in love with me. It's a dare. I'm gonna make her fall in love with me. That's not how I think British people sound. That's how he sounds. Okay? Which is insane. This friend group is also because if one of my friends was like, I think I'm going to lie to that girl and make her fall in love with me, I'd be like, hey man, chill out. You don't need to do that. Also, nobody else is pitching that. You know what I mean? Like, he comes up with that sinister villain plot apropos of fucking nothing. Tessa storms out. Fair enough. That's fair, I think. He's like, that was before. That was who I was before. But now it's me after, and I love you. And it's like, it doesn't matter. Even if you didn't lie to me, I don't want to be with somebody who crafted a dare to with a stranger to this extent. They break up. She storms away. Hardin sits in his room. He's brooding. He's sad. He's drunk. Tessa applies for a publishing internship and books it. Yes! And then studies for her exams, and she changes to an English major because before she was an econ major, and that's growth. At the end of that English class, the professor comes up to Tessa and is like, hey, Hardin wrote his final paper about you, and I think that this final paper is meant for you and not for me. And then just gives her his final project, which seems like a conflict of interest. That seems like you're not allowed to do that as a teacher. You can't just give other people someone else's project without permission, whatever. It's a horrible letter. It's the worst term paper. It's impossible to me that he got a good grade for this, being like, Tessa is my Elizabeth Bennet, and I am her Mr. Darcy. And now everything is after, because before it was before and now it's after. Then they go to, Tessa and him go to the dock from where they skinny dipped and kissed each other at the beginning of the movie. And then they look at each other. And that's the end of the first movie. So you're like, great, they're going to make up, right? The next movie, After We Collided, released in 2020. Psych, bitch, that was all a dream. It was a dream. So after they broke up, that's real. But everything afterwards, Tessa does not go to the dock. She is a publishing intern, but they do not make up. So Tessa is now starting her first day at that publishing internship. She meets her coworker, Dylan Sprouse. Is it Dylan or Cole? Wait, I truly can't tell them apart. And that's on me. Adult twins? Freak me out. It's Dylan, right? Yes. Her coworker is Dylan Sprouse. And her first thing that they're doing, they're going on a team road trip, baby, to the city so that they can woo an investor to invest in their publishing house. And famously, if you're going to a big road trip with the head of the company, his second in command, and an assistant, you're also gonna bring the new intern, baby. Let's rock and roll. Well, they go to the big city and they go to a club to try and woo this investor. Hardin's getting a tattoo drunk. The tattoo artist is like, oh, it's gonna hurt. It's hurting a little bit. Do you want something to like numb the pain? And he's like, no, I like pain. Rock and roll, bitch. So they go to this nightclub to impress this executive. The power dynamics and age differences between every employee that is there, because it's the head of the company, his second in command, who's like basically VP, Dylan Sprouse, the new intern. I'm like, this, you are asking for an HR crisis. So she starts talking with Dylan Sprouse. He's like, do you want me to get you a drink? Because we're at this club for work. And she's like, no, I'm sticking to water because I've been Ubering too much. Which we love exposition. So Tessa's been Ubering too much and she's got to figure out the plan here. However, he gets her a drink. So Dylan's like, well, I can buy you a drink. She gets drunk. She drunk dials Hardin and is like, why haven't you called me? I love you. What's going on? She spills red wine on Dylan Sprouse's white shirt. Tragedy. A travesty. What's going on? So they go back to the hotel to wash his shirt. Great. You've got to have employees drunk together, staying at a hotel. Normal. Does this happen in offices? It seems impossible to me that this is going to happen in an office. They're talking about books while she's washing his little shirt. And he's like, I hate fiction. I only read nonfiction, which like, I hate that take. Because Tessa drunk dialed Hardin, he shows up to the hotel room that Tessa is in, freaks the out because Cole Sprouse is shirtless because she's soaking his shirt because she spilt red wine on it. He's so mad. Babe, she didn't ask you to show up. Why are you showing up? You're not together. You can't be mad about this. Although that's never stopped Hardin before. Remember when he beat the shit out of a guy for trying to kiss Tessa during a game of suck and blow, even though he rejected her. He rejected her and he beat a guy, he punched him in the head. So, Dylan, you're on thin ice. However, him and Tessa make up. Hardin and Tessa, they sleep together. They're back together. Yes! So earned and normal. The next morning, she goes and meets her boss. Hardin's upset that she's like working a job and enjoying her life and not having morning sex with him. She admits to at some point kissing a stranger while they were broken up in the club. And he goes, my Tessa would never kiss a stranger. And it's like, f off. Honestly, I wish this character was dead. I wish this movie ended with him getting struck by an 18-wheeler. That would be payoff for me. Then it's Tessa's birthday. Happy birthday to you. And for her birthday, Dylan Sprouse conducts an entire cost-benefit analysis of her Uber rides, the cost of her Uber rides. He went down to the dealership, negotiated a good deal for her to find her a car that is cheap enough for her to buy now, and then the car payments will be the same amount as the Ubers she's taking. He also went to their bosses and got her bosses to cover her insurance. King. That's a love language right there. That is real shit. Imagine somebody being like, I've solved your problems for you. Here's a car. You know how you were complaining about Ubers in passing once? Well, I spent so much time figuring out a car you can afford. 1 second. Okay, I'm back. It's another day. I'm gonna be honest, I just thinking about these movies makes me upset, and I get bored, and then I feel like the video is getting boring because the movie that I'm explaining is the same movie 4 times. So basically, after this, they kiss because of course, and I didn't know if for sure Tessa and Hardin were broken up at this point, but I guess they are. I mean, Tessa girly loves to cheat. Let's say that. Okay? She loves to cheat. The 2 things this girl loves to do, cheat and wear her shoes in the bed, which is a nightmare. So they're together. At one point, she's showing Landon, remember him, her new car, and he goes, Tessa, this car is so you. And what the does that mean? Look at the car. What? What? As is usual, Landon is basically inserted into this movie to move the plot along. You know, he is there to finally get us some plot points. So what he has revealed in this conversation with Tessa, where he says that her car is so her, Hardin is in London now. He is gone to London post their breakup. And he also reveals that Tessa has the same birthday as Joseph Stalin. Anyways, Tessa goes to their old apartment. She's like, okay, well, because Hardin is in London, I'll go collect my stuff. When she's there, Hardin comes home and she hears the voice of a British woman, so she hides because she thinks Hardin is hooking up with someone. Well, guess what? It's Hardin's mom, baby. Remember her from the trauma of the first movie? Well, she's real, baby. They've cast an actor. For some reason, unbeknownst to me, because Hardin's mom is there, and they need like a fanfic fake dating trope, they agree to fake date so that Hardin's mom doesn't know that they're broken up. Why? It truly makes no sense. If I had an insane ex and I was picking up my stuff from their apartment and they came over and they were like, hey, my mom's here and she thinks we're together. Do you want to pretend to be my girlfriend still? I'd be like, oh, let me think about that. No. So they pretend to be together for the trope. It's boring. Who cares? I certainly don't. At some point during this as well, Noah, Tessa's ex-boyfriend who she cheated on with Hardin, they're friends now, I guess, and he reveals that Tessa's dad had come to Tessa's childhood home to try and reconnect with her, and Tessa's mom, Selma Blair, sent him away. This rocks Tessa's world so much, and she's so upset that she goes back and gets back together with Hardin for real. There's no conversation about this because these movies have them break up and get back together again so many times. These conversations don't happen anymore. Like, they're just together again, and you assume it either happened off screen or not, because like even the writers know it's so boring. At one point, Hardin's mom says that Hardin has such bad nightmares, but since he's been with Tessa, they've gone away, which is awesome pressure to put on a 19-year-old at most at this point. She's a fresh 19. Hardin's mom is like, it's crazy because like therapy and medication didn't work, but being with you has cured him. And I don't really know what would happen if you broke up. Maybe he'd commit insane and momentous acts of violence? Because it's Tessa's birthday, Hardin gets her as a gift a perfect day coupon. Like he's a 12-year-old giving his mom a coupon for one free hug, in which he says he will give her the perfect day. But he complains the whole time. So shut the up. He says he won't complain the whole day. He complains the whole day. They do some stupid shit. Tessa gets called into work. Hardin is upset that she is interrupting their perfect day of him complaining about all of the things she wants to do by going into work. How dare she have a job? They have this weird trying to humanize moment where Tessa's doing stuff at work and the boss's son, who's like 8 or 10 or some shit, I don't know kids' ages, he's there and Hardin like has a heart-to-heart with him and they bond. I don't care. At another point in this movie, they go to Hardin's dad's holiday party with Hardin's mom. Hardin gets drunk and mad at his dad, punches his dad in the face. His mom's upset about this because she's like, this is my battle. I've moved on. You need to be normal. Hardin gets upset that anybody's telling him no and that his actions are selfish and wrong. He trashes Tessa in his apartment. It's so boring now. Is it not boring? While this is happening, Tessa's boss says that the publishing company is moving to Seattle. He offers to pay for all of Tessa's schooling, give her a full-time position in publishing, all expenses paid for university and living expenses in Seattle. And she's like, can I think about it? Girly, take the job. While she's thinking about this, they go to a New Year's Eve party with all their friends. Remember Molly, all those friends that hid the fake dating scandal from Tessa and Hardin. They're friends. They're friends now. It's normal. Don't think about it. It's normal. You're weird for thinking about it. It's normal. They play truth or dare because there's nothing this friend group loves more. There's nothing this friend group loves more than to play a game at a party. That's all it is. Molly asks Tessa if she's a virgin. Tessa calls Molly a whore. Hardin's like, yeah, she is a whore. And it's good. They all get in a big fight. Hardin and Tessa go upstairs and have sex. After they have sex, Hardin checks Tessa's phone, normal and regular, which is regular, sees a message from Dylan Sprouse about the promotion and moving to Seattle. He freaks out. They fight. Who cares? You know they're going to get back together, so who cares? After they fight, the next morning, Tessa gets into her 2013 Toyota Corolla and is texting and driving, trying to figure out where Hardin is because he stormed away, and she gets hit. Quinn Fabray on Glee, texting and driving core. She gets slammed. So then Hardin starts looking for her at the hospitals, and no one tells him where she is because they are normal and he's insane. They're like, you need a break from this. Your whole fight, break up, don't trust each other, scream at each other, manipulation shit. Now it's got a body count. You know what I mean? Tessa is in the iron lung right now because you had to freak out and check her phone and got mad that she got a promotion. You know what I mean? Dylan Sprouse takes care of her while she's at the hospital. Hardin writes her a letter about being like, I'm so sorry, because he loves to write letters. From the first movie, he loves to write a letter. He's talking about how his nightmares about his mother getting R-worded are different now, and they're now about Tessa getting R-worded. So Tessa is his mother in his mind. Also, don't share that information with someone. I don't think you need to share that. He writes that in the letter. End of that plot point. Hardin then goes to the publishing company's celebration party to track Tessa down, which is awesome. At some point in this holiday party, the boss drops the bomb that the publishing house paid for all of Tessa's medical bills. Just a quick reminder that this book also takes place in the dystopian hellscape that is known as the United States of America. I was like, why did he... Oh, right. Because if somebody gets hit by a car, they have to pay for it. Good. No, that's good, actually. So Hardin goes to this party. He sees Dylan and her together, and he's like, oh, she's fine without me, I guess. And then Tessa runs after him, and they make up because there's no stakes. Because of course. So then they're leaving the party together, and they're like, we're back together. And a person experiencing homelessness comes up to them. And when I say that this person is kind of dressed as a hobo in a play, covered in soot, offensive portrayal. It literally looks like if you went on Spirit Halloween and looked up old-timey Great Depression person experiencing homelessness. That's what it's an insane costume. And he's like, hey, comes up and taps him. Hardin decks him immediately because that's regular. And he's actually the hero. You should actually commit violence against anybody that enters your personal space. And guess what? This person experiencing homelessness, that's Tessa's dad. Remember him from before? Okay. After We Fell, 2021. The last two movies, because it's the same shit over and over again, it's like, they break up, they get back together, they they fight, they break up. Who cares? I've condensed these last two into to pretty succinct notes because who cares? So Tessa brings her father into their apartment and he says he wants to get to know her. Hardin's immediately suspicious. He's like, he wants money. Great. The one thing Hardin's character needs more is worse opinions. He's already a man-child who threatens physical violence against everybody around him and depends on Tessa and his mom to fix him mentally. What we need more of is him to also just kind of hate and villainize homelessness. Like, I think that makes sense to me. So he's like, get out of here. I'll give you money and then you can leave. Normal thing to say to a person who's just found their daughter. Normal to me. And then he takes Tess in the other room and he's like, he's probably stealing from us right now. And it's like, stop. What? Just slip in that anti-homeless rhetoric into After We Fell 2021. It's great. Tessa and Hardin fight because of this, and also because Tessa is moving to Seattle, and Hardin was like, but I thought we'd move to London after graduation. After I graduated. I know that you're in university, and also I've never mentioned this, but life is kind of on my terms. It's so boring. They fight. Boring. All they do is fight, make up. It's kind of like Edward and Bella in Twilight, but at least like Twilight has vampires and werewolves and plot. This is just them being like, I don't want you to do that. And then she's like, I'm gonna. And then they fight and then they get back together. Whatever. Because they're fighting, Tessa's dad leaves the apartment. He's like, I'll leave you kids to it. Whatever. Because Tessa's now driving a hard bargain on the best professional opportunity of her life. Let's recap. Paying for room and board in Seattle. Full-time publishing job. You get pay on top of that, a full-time salary. And your boss is paying for your university tuition in the United States where it's expensive. And she goes to him and she's like, I don't know if I can move because Hardin doesn't want me to. So then her boss offers to also pay for Hardin to move to Seattle. And Hardin's like, fine. Shut the up. This movie better end with Hardin getting hogtied on the railroad tracks and getting hit by a train like it's a 1920s movie. So because this is all decided, now they're going to the lake house, baby. They're going on vacation. Vacation, all I ever wanted. So Hardin, while they're at the lake, runs into an old friend named Lillian. And immediately, you know, if a woman is introduced in relationship to Hardin or if a man is introduced in relationship to Tessa, it's just for the other to get jealous. That's really it. I love when people are plot devices. They're nothing else. And you're the problem for thinking that they might be something else. So Tessa becomes immediately jealous of Hardin and Lillian. And you're like, great, I love these movies. It's awesome. Anybody want to kill me? So Tessa becomes immediately jealous when Lillian is introduced. They all meet at a restaurant, and because Tessa is so jealous and also mentally a child and unable to get out of the worst relationship known to man for no reason, she starts flirting with the waiter. There's like a waiter at this restaurant and she's like, hey girl, you're hot. That's how I flirt, I guess. That's my arsenal of flirting. So she flirts with the waiter to make Hardin jealous because she's jealous of Lillian and Hardin is jealous of the waiter. They have sex in the hot tub. They have hot tub sex. Yep, they do that. And then they fight after sex because Hardin asks Tessa if she ever had feelings for Dylan Sprouse from the last movie. So she storms away. They get in a fight. She calls Hardin, is like, where are you? And he's like, oh, I'm just hanging out with Lillian. And Tessa gets so mad, she goes back to the restaurant to find the waiter again and get his number. Now, you might be thinking, it's about time we have the genre of plot twist that only occurs in the after movies, known as, you thought this? Well, what if this entirely different thing you never saw coming and we never really alluded to happens? Oh, you thought this person experiencing homelessness was just a random guy? No, that's Tessa's dad. Oh, you thought Hardin was cheating on Tessa with Lillian? Lillian's gay. Hashtag love wins. After this, Hardin finds the waiter's number that Tessa got. They leave because they obviously cannot handle being outside of the city together. Friendly reminder, Tessa's like 19 and Hardin's like 22. Like, break up. This relationship is a prison for both of you. And it's an assault on my eyes and ears to have to watch you two not be able to handle being together. Like, they don't even have fun anymore. All they do is fight, right? So Tessa moves to Seattle and Hardin stays home for some reason, even though the boss paid for Hardin, the main guy boss of the publishing house paid for Hardin to move. He stays home. I'm begging for them to break up. While he's home, he reads Tessa's diary entries because why not? Like, he already reads her texts. He's already a living, waking nightmare. Read the diary entry. And she journals about how bad the relationship is. He gets mad and he starts boxing, which anytime, that's a terrifying image to me. You get bad news about your relationship and you need to punch shit? No. And then he surprises her in Seattle. He's like, knock, knock, it's me. Because he read how bad the relationship is and he needs to save this relationship. He's got nothing else going on, period. No job, no prospects. He just has Tessa, so he's got to cling to that. Oh, and the reason why he came to Seattle to surprise her, because he had a dream of her cheating on him. Normal reaction, I think. I actually think that Hardin's dreams are visions, and he has the sight, right? So he's a fortune teller, kind of, you know what I mean? A psychic, if you will, and he had a vision, that's so Raven style, and had to come and see. He goes to Seattle, they make up, I don't care. I forgot they were broken up, or in a fight, because their relationship is a prison and awful. So then Hardin goes home, and Tessa's dad is beaten up and bleeding out on their apartment steps because he owes people money. So Hardin gives him a watch and is like, go pay off the debts, good God. Then, I was going to say road trip, but they're going to London and there's no bridge from Seattle to London. Wish there was. So Hardin and Tessa go to Hardin's mom's wedding in London, old London town. While they're at the wedding, Hardin sees his mom cheat on her fiance with the head of the publishing company that Tessa works at. So Tessa goes to tell the boss's girlfriend / partner, who also works at the publishing house, being like, he's cheating on you. And that is the role of an intern. If you are an intern and you are not telling your boss that they are being cheated on by your other boss, you're not going above and beyond. You know what I mean? Work is family. And family means sticking your nose in the business of others that you do not need to be involved with. So she goes to tell this other boss that the first boss is cheating on her. And she goes, I know, but I love him anyway. And I let him cheat. So there's no good relationship. It's important to note, in the universe of After, you're either in a relationship being cheated on and accepting it, or you're with Hardin. And honestly, I don't know which of those two devils is the right choice. I don't know. So after Hardin sees this, he goes to confront the head of the publishing house that his mom was cheating on her fiance with. I hate these sentences. There's no other way to say it, but he goes to confront the head of the publishing house and be like, why? My mom is cheating on her fiance with you and I have to confront you, I guess. Confront your mom, for sure. And then it is revealed that the head of the publishing house that Tessa works at is Hardin's real father. Exactly. After Ever Happy. 2022, baby. Just make it happily ever after. That's my punch up on that. Make it happily ever after. I don't think After Ever Happy is good. I don't think it's a good title for a movie. So after Hardin finds out that Vance, the head of the publishing house, is his real father, he goes to confront his mother at her wedding reception. And when she's like, not right now, which like isn't good behavior, but like, I don't know. He goes and he tries to set his mom's house on fire. I'll say it again. He goes and he tries to set his mom's house on fire. Tessa, run. He's just gone into full crime now. He's just gone into full... Remember when this was just about truth or dare? Hardin's committing arson. Hardin is committing arson. Vance is there for some reason and helps sneak Hardin out of the house before the firemen and the fire police, I guess, get there and figure out that it's arson, even though... Watching this, you're like, well, obviously they're going to know that it was set by someone. And if you know that this woman's house was on fire and at her wedding, you saw her son publicly scream at her in front of everyone, you're just going to connect the dots as a detective, right? But Vance tells the police that he set the fire. So that's good. No consequences for Hardin. After this, Hardin and Tessa have sex and it's awesome. So Tessa goes and she talks to her boss and she has this horrible long conversation where she's like, it's hard for me to deal with Hardin's anger issues because he's a fucking menace. And you're like, girl, this is movie 4. We know he has anger issues. We know he has anger issues. I don't care. She goes back to the hotel. Hardin isn't there. She finds him at a party. He's drunk and high. And she's like, okay, I'm going back to the United States. Let's go back to the United States. And he's like, no, I'm staying here, because he doesn't sound like any British person has ever sounded in their entire life. And I actually get to decide how people sound. Tessa's like, no, I want you to come back with me. And it's like, Tessa girl, run. This is your chance. Clean break. Run away from him. She goes home, goes to her and Hardin's apartment, and finds her dad dead because he overdosed. Girl cannot catch a break. Tessa in the trenches, World War II style. My girl Tessa has trench foot because of every bad thing happening to her back to back. So now Landon arrives because plot has to happen. He's got to make plot happen. Landon figures out about Tessa's dad dying, calls Hardin, and is like, you need to come back because Tessa's dad is dead. Your girlfriend's dad is dead. Hardin is drunk and doesn't pick up. Because here's the thing. What you don't understand is that Hardin just found out that his dad isn't who he thought he was. And that's bad. But Tessa's is worse. Not to compare trauma, but like if we're gonna compare trauma, Tessa's is worse. But he's drunk. He's not picking up the phone. Hardin finally picks up the phone and comes back to the US. And he goes back to the apartment. He's like, Tessa. And Tessa hides from him in the apartment. Great. She hides from him because she doesn't want to see him. Normal. They all go to Tessa's dad's funeral. She organizes it. At the funeral, Hardin is there, and Tessa says, finally, after 4 movies, we need to be apart. We're not good for each other. I could have literally told you that 20 minutes into the first movie. But alas, nobody in this movie would want to be friends with me because I'd be like, you guys are dumb. You guys are dumb. Tessa, you have a good job. Why do you care about this? So to create this space, because Tessa says we need to be apart, we're not good for each other. She says she's moving to New York City, the Big Apple, the city so nice they named it twice, the city that never sleeps. NYC, just something about her, $2, $3, 2 bags, 1 me. Is that how it goes? Yes, obviously I need to be splitting hairs on Annie lyrics, but yeah, it's NYC, $3, 2 bags, 1 me. So Tessa is going to Annie's hometown, New York City, to be with Landon because Landon got a new job, not to date him because Landon has a girlfriend also. I didn't bring it up because it's so irrelevant. Who cares? Because she needs distance from Hardin. Hardin is pissed because Tessa finally got a fucking clue, and he's also upset because Landon is undermining him. In other words, Landon is helping Tessa escape him. Tessa finishes this conversation by saying, if you love me, don't follow me. Normal. So Tessa moves to New York and starts working at a restaurant as a waiter or as a server. What's the correct term? I'm going to piss off the community. She starts working at a high-class restaurant, surely a pay upscale from working in publishing. Although I feel like Girly had it all. She literally had a publishing gig that paid her tuition. Also, what's the timeline of these movies? I don't know. And I watched them all. I watched all of them. Tessa goes to New York, starts working at a upscale restaurant as a server. Hardin goes to Alcoholics Anonymous, AA, in Washington, whatever. He's doing the work. This is good. This is good. About 2 months later, let's say, in the future, I don't know how much in the future. Oh no, I fucked my hair up. Well, okay, we're almost done here. A little bit later, let's say, Hardin is in New York for work and asks Landon if he can stay with him. And Landon says, yeah. I literally can't think of one reason why, except for the fact that I am sheltering your ex-girlfriend who needed to escape you and your problems. So Hardin stays with Landon and Tessa. Tessa takes a bunch of shifts at the restaurant so she can avoid seeing Hardin. Fair. But don't worry. Hardin and Landon, they just go to her work. They just say, hey, can we sit in your section, girly? Don't be weird, which is great. After Tessa gets off her shift, her and Hardin talk and they have sex because of course. After they have sex, Tessa goes through Hardin's bag because old habits die hard. If you're in the after movies, you gotta have sex with somebody, rifle through their things or go on their phone and find information you don't want. In her bag, she finds a book Hardin has written called After. Tessa says she doesn't want this book published because it's about her horrible relationship. And Hardin says, too bad, there was already a bidding war. There was a bidding war for this book. And I would call bullshit on that if it wasn't for the fact that surely the actual After books were in a bidding war and the author of these books got 6 figures. So whatever. The end of the entire After series is After, written by Hardin, becoming a New York Times best-selling book. Hardin is doing a book signing in New York, and Tessa sneaks in and watches him from afar. So I guess the moral of the story is if you are a man and you're the most emotionally volatile up person who does nothing but hurt the ones you love, you will find redemption and become a New York Times bestselling author. And if you're a serial cheater and a victim like Tessa, you're f***ed. That was all 4 after movies. I'm happy to share something with y'all. I'm happy that I can give you something for my pain. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you liked this video. Take care. My Instagram and all that stuff will be in the description below, and I'll see you soon.